You're listening to Ernestly Speaking, the only weekly podcast that covers friends, foes, and anything that goes. And now, for your badass host, Ernest Owens. And we're back for another episode of Ernestly Speaking with your host, Ernest Owens, myself. So, we're about to get into December, and this is the final month of the year. Like, oh my goodness, like 2021 is like almost over, and the virus is still going, and the pandemic is still happening, and there's like another sequel called Omicron, which is just a lot. But oh my goodness, like this has been a year. This has been a year. I must say, this has definitely been 2021 for real, for real. I mean, for me, it's been a pivotal year. I always feel like the years with the ones like 2011, 2016, hell, 2006. I feel like every year where it's like a decade for me or half a decade has always been like a milestone year. And this is, turning 30 this year has definitely been a very milestone occasion for sure. And just processing that, being married and everything I'm like, wow, this has been a really, really great year. And everyone's always like, oh, this is your year. And I'm like, I feel like every year is my year. Like everyone was like last year was like, oh, yo, 2020, man, you made the best of 2020. That was your year. I'm like, yeah. And they're like, yo, this year was definitely your year. I'm like, yeah. And next year will be my year again. I think that years are relevant, or relative, it being your year. I just think for me, it's just striving to just do better. I mean, this year definitely is a flagship year for me because there's been some major life changes, right? Being married, being 30, and there's been some professional milestones as well. But I think for me, every year can be your year, and it's not really based on like a New Year's resolution or anything. It's just that you just have to just think about what did you do the year before that you want to improve upon for the next year, and as long as you're being better than the year before you, or at least striving to be a better person than what you was prior, then it's always going to be your year. So I think about 2022, and I'm excited for 2022. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going to be coming up, things to gear up for, new challenges, new things. And each time I look at certain things that I haven't done yet, that I want to do, that I'm getting my foot across the door to do, and I'm like, wow, it's just, just going on the journey and just staying optimistic and just keeping yourself in the mindset that there is still more to achieve and the best is yet to come. And that's really what it is for me. Like, I don't want to ever be in a position where I have to cram every goal or opportunity in one year. Sometimes there's stuff that I thought I was going to achieve this year that I'm like, you know what, it can't happen until next year. And then the year before that. So I just like to be in a position where I have stuff to look forward to. Like, I think about like January 2023, my book is going to be coming out, finally, and that's something that I am going to be an author of a book. That's not going to happen in 2022. That's going to happen in 2023, in January 2023. So there's like a whole thing I have to build up to leading up to the following year that I have already looking forward to in 2023. So it's like creating opportunities for yourself that can give you a goal and keep moving, because there's something in front of you that's right before you that you just have to keep aspiring towards. And not just the book, but just other aspirations and careers and goals. Like, I didn't think I was going to be doing national magazine writing at this level so soon. I mean, it's something I've always wanted to do, but I didn't know how I was going to crack into that direction and pivot. So again, it's just everything that you're doing in your life as an individual, as a person, just ask yourself, what are you doing that could be more the next year that makes sense on your timetable? Because everyone's always trying to project what your timetable should be or where you should be going or what you should be doing. I mean, there are many people who told me, you should be doing a book many years ago, but I was like, I don't want to self-publish. Like, I there's no shade to people that self-publish books. That's everybody has their own talent and professional goal, but I didn't want to self-publish. I wanted a book deal. I wanted to be paid to write a book. I wanted to have a team, an agent. I wanted those things. And so my mindset was I wasn't going to cheat myself out the process of getting that. And also getting a major, publisher to do the book, right? So these are all the things that the kind of goals that I had for myself up front. And some people was like, yo, I don't care for those things. I just want to get something out there. And that was their goal. So everyone has their own individual aspirations. And I just think that it's important for you to know why you do what you do, and stick with it. So, yeah. I am sipping on this beautiful cocktail by bartender Barry, the Gold Digger, which is this turmeric-based cocktail with, it's with whiskey. It's a whiskey-based cocktail, but it's very fruity and fun and festive. And it was something we had for Thanksgiving. We did Friendsgiving, and it was fun. I will say, Friendsgiving was definitely super fun. I will say that, what can I say? I would just say that hosting is an art, and people should definitely know if they understand the art of hosting. I'll say that. Just in general, just speaking out loud in general. Hosting affairs, events requires a level of attention to detail, specificity, and all of those things. And I think a lot of people love to host things and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. But it really is a talent. It really is an art. It's something that you have to have the energy for. Because, everybody is different. And yeah, I'll just say that. Thanksgiving was so fun. Miss Dawn catered, and the food was divine. As always, Miss Dawn can cook, and she's always been cooking for the past couple of years. I've used her for different types of Thanksgiving affairs, Christmas, Thanksgiving, New Year's, my wedding shower. She did. She's done a lot. She's done a lot over here in this household, and her food is just immaculate. So when you all saw that lovely plate, that was her. And yes. And I'll be having her again for Christmas, and most likely have her for New Year's as well. She does different types of foods for different parts of the season, but I'm looking forward to her. And I'm also looking forward to Christmas Eve. One of my good homegirls, she's Italian, and I'm going to be doing 7 fishes this year. So I'm excited. I've never done it before. I've always seen pictures. I've always heard about the tradition. I've seen articles. But I've never had this 7 fishes experience. So I'm doing it for the first time this year, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. I don't know what to expect, except I know it's going to be a lot of seafood. So this is going to be fun, and I'm going to do it for the first time. So, I'm looking forward to it, and I think we're going to be in Ardmore or whatnot, but it's going to be fun. And I'm looking forward to this Italian tradition and spread. I'm not cooking the fish, okay? So let's be clear. I'm going to be a guest of this experience. So, yes, I'm looking forward to that. And it's going to be so much fun. I think y'all look at me like I'm a little tipsy. No, I'm not tipsy. I'm just sipping. I've been seeing you all having this fun with Small Business Saturday. Everybody's been talking to me about Small Business Saturday. And I said something on Twitter and I said some social media about this, but is it just me? But did it feel like with Small Business Saturday, everybody was a small business? I don't know. I just was like, is everybody a small business? Is this happening? Not that I'm saying that they are not legitimately small businesses, but I just feel like every other time of the year, there was a lot of companies or businesses, right, that were framing themselves like they were like these big corporations, like they were balling and with cheddar and all of this, the resources. And it was just an interesting thing. And then during Small Business Saturday, which of course is after Black Friday, everybody all of a sudden became like, oh, support this local small business. I'm like, you're a small business? You're a local small business? Interesting. I said, oh, so this who was getting those SBA checks and grants and things. Okay. Okay. I see here. I see here. But it was just interesting to see that. Because like what I think of as a small business compared to what other people was framing themselves as, I was like, interesting. Interesting. But this has been an interesting time. I don't know. Like Thanksgiving kind of came and went for me mentally. I just feel like it just seems like Thanksgiving, like there was not that heavy, massive promotion that we're used to seeing with Thanksgiving. I don't know. Even Halloween kind of just came and went. But I'm also grown. I don't have any kids, so like Halloween isn't like as in my face like my college years and when I was in high school and when I was younger. But it just seems like the holidays is going by so fast. I mean, I do definitely feel that there's some anticipation for Christmas. Like I'm seeing the Christmas decorations, tree talk, and all of that. But I think these other holidays are taking a back seat. I don't know. It just feels like this year has. And I think part of it's because of the pandemic. It's still going, it's still happening. But Thanksgiving just kind of came and went for me. And I feel like Black Friday is, and we got Cyber Monday and all this other stuff going on. But people are just listen. People are like, look, this inflation talk got people out here like, look, am I trying to do the most? I mean, I don't know. One of the things I've been doing lately has been buying gifts throughout the year and saving them for holidays. I mean, do other people do this? Maybe. I don't know. I have been doing this lately. I'll catch a nice gift. I'm like, okay, this is gonna be someone's birthday present. This is gonna be somebody's, Christmas gift. Like I'm buying things ahead and or getting good sales and realizing, oh, this would be a nice gift for this person when that time comes. So that I don't feel like this overwhelming, I gotta shop and buy Christmas gifts all at once and drop all my coins like that. Like I've been buying things in ahead. Like for example, my mother's birthday is in January, and we're going to be going to Vegas, which I'm excited about. So my husband, myself, my family, we're going to Vegas for her birthday because she wanted to have her big 50th this year. This year in 2021, she was born in 1971. She turned 50 this year. In January, she was supposed to have this big, huge 50th birthday blowout bash in Vegas. Well, of course, the pandemic was still going on. And as you know, vaccinations were just starting to begin to go out. And so she just was like, cut it. I'm going to do something for my 51st. So now everyone's fully vaxxed. Everyone's, even getting boosters. I got my booster. Now we're like, okay, let's go to Vegas and do it for her 51st. So we're going to go to January. I've already bought her gift. And I found it in the most unique way. I can't tell what it is because she does listen to the podcast. So I'm just, it's a very, very, very nice gift. And I kind of found out about it under certain circumstances. I was like, you know what? I should hold this for the birthday. This is a perfect birthday gift. And so I got this gift, like, I want to say in October. And her birthday's in January. So I am doing that now. I'm seeing things while they're on sale. I'm seeing things while they're out there, unique experience. And I'm like, you know what? This is going to be saved for that time of the year, this moment of the year. So I can not have to feel that bum rush. So buy gifts all year round and save them for holidays. And actually, I think I learned that from my mom. My mom does a lot of that. She'll go to like her outlets and her spots, and she'll see something. She's like, you know what? I'm going to save this for this occasion. So if people do this too, I'm down for it. I also do another thing, but I don't think that's appropriate to say on this podcast. It might involve a thing called recycling. I am not guilty of recycling. Okay, so let me say this. I'll say this. I don't recycle gifts. However, I do recycle bottles. Let me explain. I have had situations where I've been gifted. Everybody know I love Vive Coquette, that lovely champagne. It's gorgeous as divine. When it was my wedding, and my birthday was the same week, I was getting a lot of those bottles, okay, and they were beautiful in their boxes. And then there were things coming up, and I was like in the midst of going to other folks' birthday parties, celebrations. It was a lot of shit happening. And I would just be like, oh, damn, what do I get? So I always keep a stack of birthday cards, thank you cards that I already have on deck, because I go to so many birthdays. I'm going to a birthday party in 2 weeks. One of my besties, Lauren, is having a birthday party. She's turning 30, and she's having a big old grand birthday party. And she's getting a gift, right? But like, there's certain people I was like, oh, I need to come up with something. So I gave them a bottle, one of my VC bottles I just had, because I had a bunch of them. And I was just like, at the last minute, like, this is a very thoughtful gift. Let me just give them this bottle I already had. And like, sell her. So yes, these are first world problems. But I'm just saying that, yes, I have done that. I don't think that's bad. I think it's bad when you give away meaningful gifts. And I will say that I've never re-gifted a meaningful gift. All the gifts I've received, I've kept. And there's nothing I haven't not liked in a minute. Everything I've gotten, I pretty much like. And I don't give it away, because I just always have that nightmare. Like, what if you give this to somebody and then someone else gets it and they're like, oh my God, I don't like this, or they like it, but then someone else sees it that you might know. It's a small world. And Philadelphia is a small town masquerading as a big city. So you just never want to play those type of games. Because I will tell you a fun story. I was given a recycled gift from somebody else. And someone saw that gift. They said, where did you get this from? Who did you get this from? And I was like, oh, I got this from so-and-so, so-and-so. And they were like, oh, interesting. And then I found out why. Because that person had given that person that gift, and they told me they gave it to me. I was like, oh, shit. But I liked it. It was definitely an Ernest gift. But for that person, it definitely was not a gift for them. But I appreciated receiving that recycled gift. But I just think that, feelings get hurt if you don't convey. So, but I enjoyed that aerator. I'm just saying. And I wasn't giving it back. If you could get away with recycling gifts, I want to know who's good at them. I would be curious to know who's good at recycling gifts, because it is, listen, I can recycle the bottles, but you cannot recycle the gifts. That's just my opinion. So this week, Rolling Stone's December issue will be coming out. I'm super excited. I have been trying to find the issue in stores. I haven't had much success, but I think part of it is because of the fact that I've been out of, one, I think that Rolling Stone magazine, when they say it's a December issue, they're not dropping it until December. So, December is going to be later this week. I look forward to going to Brennan House, going to Barnes & Noble, okay, unless you all go in there and take them, okay? Like, I had to go to New York Times. I had to get copies of New York Times. They only sold me 2 New York Times Sunday editions. This is when Barry and I wedding was in the newspaper earlier in November. I went there. They were like, we can only sell you 2 copies. I was like, oh, you guys are horrible. So I had to go to I think it was CVS. And CVS let me buy as many as I wanted. So that's what I did. So I have some stacks of course, our beautiful vows section in the paper. I was very excited about it. It's very lovely. Was excited to see it. It's a joy to the world. So I was very happy to see that. And also seen it in print. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the Rolling Stone. I can't wait for the article to drop. It's going to drop on mine too. So it's going to be everywhere. And I'm just so elated that this is happening so fast. And also how many people are really excited. Everybody's been asking me like, oh, where can I get it? Where can I read it? It's this week. Go to stores that sell magazines. I mean, Rolling Stone magazine is a national magazine. So if you're in Philadelphia, you're in New York, you're in Oklahoma, wherever you are, they have copies everywhere. Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, I believe there's like Rolling Stone there. Barnes and Noble, the bookstores, all the bookstores and fancy spots like that, you can catch a copy. So it's good to know that this is what, like Philadelphia Magazine, of course, which I love and I've been writing for 6 years. Philadelphia Magazine, they're in Philly, and you can catch them at the airport. And you can get Rolling Stone magazines at the airport. So, like, I'm looking forward to going to the airport when I, go out and stuff and getting a copy. So, yes, it's all over. You can't miss it. It's there. And that's the exciting part about it. It's like being able to go anywhere and find that story. And when you go and you open the magazine, you see the story, you're gonna be like, "Oh wow!" So I'm excited. I'm just over the moon. Um, but it'll be out, and so I'm gonna do my run through. What I love to do is when there's magazines and stuff out there with my name or face on it. I do the whole go to the store for the first time and have the reveal session where I'm walking in and I'm looking for the first time and finding my copies and stuff. So I'm definitely going to be doing that and super excited to just finally have it in my hands. Which is nothing like that. To have that experience, like it's nice when you read it, but to be able to open it up and touch it and hold it and that, yeah, that's heavy. So yeah. In other news, my weekend next weekend is going to be really crazy. Before I get into some of these hot topics, but I'm going to be going to PA Society, which is in New York, but it's a Pennsylvania political event, but it takes place in New York at the Waldorf Astoria. And it's an annual tradition that's been going on since I believe the 1800s. And Philadelphia or Pennsylvanians go to New York and talk shop. And it's a big, huge festive affair. And so, as president of the Philadelphia Association of Black Journalists, I'll be there representing and holding an event of my own with the Aldea Foundation, which you all know I'm also on the board of. And there's a collaborative diversity media mixer. It's like a reception, and we're giving out awards, and it's going to be a nice event. So I'll be there representing, and I'll be going to New York on Friday. And you know how I feel about New York. It's like, I only go to New York for business. And so people are like, "Oh, are you staying overnight? What hotel are you staying in?" I'm like, "Oh no, y'all know how I do in New York. I am literally taking a train there at 3, going to the event, be there about 5. The event's from 5 to 7:30. I'm taking a train at 8 o'clock-ish, getting home by 10. That's it. I'm going to laugh because everybody always laughs at me where I'm like, I do this all the time. I never stay overnight in New York. I'm always like in and out. I don't make it a trip. I don't make it a thing. And there's people that do that. They'll do the hotels. New York is like in and out, in and out. I don't know if I cringe New York. I don't like New York. I don't know what it is. I'm like, look, New York is here for business. And I will tell you that 99% of the time I've been in New York, I've never paid for a meal in New York. I've always everywhere I went, it was an event, it was a moment. I ate there, left there. I don't stay. I've never made New York that place where I want to stay. I'm very like in and out, like the burger shop. Fun story. I think I have told this maybe many times before, but I remember when I had got on Forbes 30 Under 30, and that was like maybe like 2 years ago, 2019. And I was invited to the reception. It was somewhere really nice. I think it was the Forbes building? It may have been it was actually the Forbes building, I believe. And there was like a big grand reception, and it was real nice. Cameras, carpet, it was flashy. That was a nice party. And so everyone was there, the listers, all the big names. It was a who's who party for sure. And so I think the party was again at 7 o'clock. I think that party was at 7. I think I took a 5 o'clock, and I think I took a boat bus that night. I think it was the train. I think I was told I was on this too early. They told me the reception like maybe 2 or 3 days before, and I think a train was just super expensive, so I took a boat bus. And I was looking nice in my outfit, okay? So I was in my outfit looking good, doing my thing, and I was looking right. And I remember taking that boat bus, getting my ass there. My boat bus was fabulous, or whatever like that. And I was like, okay, I get there at 7, okay? On time for the party. I party from 7 to 9. 9:30, my boat bus came. I went to my location. I was back home by 11. I remember Barry was like, wait a minute. Like, wait, you're back? You didn't stay over? I said, no. I was there for the awards. I got honored. I took my ass home. And it was crazy. Was all my friends messaged me and were like, that were from New York, that who lived in New York, was like, wait, you was in New York? Where you at now? I said, I'm in Philly. I'm back in Philly. They're like, wait, what? You're back? Yeah, I don't play in New York like that. I don't play in New York like that. I try to avoid going to New York unless I have like real business in New York. And I feel bad because sometimes I have friends who have things there, and then sometimes I have to, like, if I really want to go to some stuff, but like I don't know. I have a New York phobia. I just cannot. I cannot. I don't know. I just feel like and I will say that the most recent times I went to New York, I just went to New York earlier this year for some business. And it wasn't that crazy because I think the pandemic played a role in it. But I just feel like it's just a bunch of noise for nothing. I don't know. This is not supposed to be the New York bashing podcast. I've never done a Broadway show. I've never been to a Broadway show in New York. Barry has. He saw Phantom. I've seen everything either like on a tour or something. I do want to go to a Broadway show. I do want to have that experience because I do feel like that's worth the trip, right? But I just always feel like New York's always crowded in traffic. And that's how I feel about LA too. Even though the times, again, LA, if I'm getting flued out to LA, I need to have something going on. Like, I don't know, Oprah or USC or something of like stature. I've only went to LA a couple of times. Every time I went, I was always on some business type tip. Something like red carpet, top tier. Okay, nothing that's like, oh, just come to LA and hang out. No, I'm not just going to LA to hang out. I don't know, judge me, but I don't know. I just feel like cities like that, like, I better have a reason for the season. I mean, that's my personal thing. Like, listen, people, I don't know what it's like to try. This is going to be so problematic, but I'm going to say this. I don't know what it's like to travel to the United States on a vacation type tip. Like, I don't necessarily, if I'm going to go vacation, I want to go vacation out of the United States. I just think it's weird for me to be like, I'm going to go to San Francisco and vacation in San Francisco. What? Why? Like, I don't know. That's weird. I'm weird. I have quirks. I have things that are just Ernest things. They don't make sense to anyone else. It's okay. I'm not judging folks for doing it. Do your thing. It's just something, I don't know. Like, I don't get the hype of like vacationing in the continental United States. But maybe because there's a lot of like cultural, political reasons why for me as a Black queer man. I don't know. Maybe that's it. Like, I just, like if I'm going to go vacation and spend money and spend my own money, I guess I want to go somewhere that's like not here. I don't know. I hope this makes sense. Like, I would go to like I went to Ghana. Like, when I was to Ghana. I went to Israel. I've been to Peru. I want to go somewhere that's not here. I don't want to be like, I don't know. I mean, vacation for me is like when I go back home. Like when I go to like Houston or, because that's where my family lives. I get that, but I don't know. I'm like, if I'm going to do all of that, I should just go abroad and have a real out-of-road experience. But I do travel across the U.S., but normally it's so the only times I would say, I guess, I'm having a vacation experience is when I like go to the NABJ convention. So like I've been to New Orleans, I've been to Detroit, I did Miami, but that was like a convention and it was fun. And it was also like a way to have some vacation between that travel. But like, yeah, I wouldn't have went to Miami just to go. I feel like Miami's just overrated now at this point. I don't know. Just, I see too many people go and I'm just like, I don't want to go there. Or just go to beach. Or when they travel abroad, everybody goes to travel abroad to beaches. Like everybody's going to Antigua and stuff. I'm like, ugh. It's like there's a group of folks that I went to college with that make it a point to go to Antigua all the time. This guy who's a total jerk. I don't like this guy who throws the trips there. And if y'all know who I'm talking about, yes, I'm talking about him. I don't care much for him. But he throws these trips to Antigua, and I have friends that go. So full disclaimer, I'm not talking about my friends that go. But there are people that go, and I'm like, this is just basically a hookup sex island. Like, it's really just the island for people to hook up with. And there are people who are now getting married that met at that trip. I'm like, That's weird. But like, it's just become, I don't know, that trip is just like, ugh. Like I just, it's everything I hate about island trips, because it's like the stereotypical, we're trying to act like we're bigger than what we are, we're all going here, we're all trying to act like we're just getting exposed to culture, but we're just here to fuck. Like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe because I'm a taken girl. I just have no use. But it's the thing. It's like this Black Ivy thing that people that could go to that damn island and take pictures. And I also get annoyed because some of the girls I went to school with, not my friends. I'm separating my friends from this. But the ones who go, some of them, I'm like, this is just an excuse for you just to go and like wear bikinis and wear beach clothes and like make an excuse to just like thirst trap on Instagram. But okay, great. You could have did that at Atlantic Beach for way less and would have probably got the same number of likes. Whatever. Listen, I'm clearly having a moment. But I don't know. I some of this has to do with the fact that I'm a journalist. Some of this has to do with the fact that I'm an influencer. And because I have seen these things, have experienced these things, and I often don't pay for these things, I kind of look and cringe at the folks who go lose it all to spend money to have those types of flexes. So I'm just like, I'm telling you, you're being exploited financially. It's a ripoff. Don't do it. But at the same time, YOLO, right? So that's on that. Oh my goodness. Speaking of travel and variants. So yes, Omicron is here. Okay? It's here. And there's no escaping it, right? We're in a pandemic where this Omicron variant is happening. It's starting in South Africa, or at least the cases have been found in South Africa. And I just want to say on behalf of smart people that do research and read, it is not, let's stop acting like Africa, the continent, right, is the issue here, or South Africa. It really is the West's fault. The West as in Europe, the United States, North America, all of that. It's the West's fault because we've been hoarding these vaccinations forever. We have not been properly dispersing them in third world countries and developed countries, undeveloped countries, under-resourced areas, populations. We have just not been sharing the wealth across the board. And so what happens is that in these areas that are already being hit hard by the pandemic, variants are growing from variants. And the shit is exasperating in areas that have been not properly resourced. So everyone wants to act like there is this specific third world eye of like, oh, these people are worse than others and they're spreading this. No, they're also the areas that are not actually getting the proper resources and the vaccinations to help calm down these issues. We have people in our country that are so stupid that they're resisting vaccinations when there's other countries where people need them and want them. And it's almost like you want to just throw people off the Atlantic and just let them suffer because they just don't care. When there's other people who really do need these vaccinations, need them, want them, and they need them for their dear life. And it just frustrates me. It frustrates me. I have no remorse for people in this country, in the United States, who consistently get pissed off about mandates and safety when we consistently see these variants growing. And it's messed up because in the United States, there's no variants or whatever that are being created or founded in the United States in spite of these disgusting people's bad habits and hygiene, right? Health hygiene. We're not seeing it. And the problem is that what I've been following this Omicron case, they're saying that it's very viral, it's strong, it's this. Of course, because that's what happens when things mutinate, like things get worse. They're trying to figure out, research is saying like pretty much these vaccinations can withhold, but there needs to be a serious increase. Now, Europe is starting to ban it. There's some cases found in the Netherlands. There's some cases found elsewhere. As of right now, there hasn't been any reports in the United States, but guess what? We're bound to hear of one case soon, or two or three. It's bound to happen because the travel, they're saying it's even hitting Europe and it's in the Netherlands because of the travel. So it's going to be a case probably in the United States. I don't, one would hope it don't. Knocking on this wooden table, but it is bound to because we just started to open up that travel again. So now we're closing it again. And now we're trying to target South Africa. But it's like, y'all, it's in Europe. You're going to have to cover. We keep doing this travel ban thing back and forth. The answer is spread the wealth. The answer is make sure all of these countries are getting access to this vaccine, because clearly these ungrateful American motherfuckers don't want to get vaccinated. So you know what? If they don't want to, then fuck at your own risk. But give it to people that need it. Give it to people that has been wanting them from the get-go. I have a team and business partners in Canada who have told me that they haven't even been able to get a booster yet because it hasn't came over there to Canada yet. But their kids are being able to get vaccinations, but Canada is still haven't been able to do boosters. We in the United States, the CDC has now approved for all adults to get booster shots. What the fuck are we doing? I got my booster. My people are getting their boosters. Get your booster. Stop playing in these streets. Because y'all all traveling for the holidays, doing all this dating stuff. Listen, I've been off the market for years. I don't know how y'all do it, though. I'm seeing a lot of people that I know telling me these stories about how they're back on the market again or dating again. And I'm like, how do y'all do that on Tinder with all these variants and stuff going on? I just... Homegirl of mine was telling me that some guy that was messaging her started telling her how he don't do vaccinations and stuff. I said, see, he don't do vaccinations, and then he probably was also going to say he don't do condoms either. But look, I wasn't going there with her. I was just like, listen, how do y'all go? How are people dating and using those apps at a time where we know what's going on with the vaccine, with the pandemic and everything? I never thought about that. I never had to think about that clearly, but I'm like, ooh, could you imagine like trying to do the hookup thing in the midst of the pandemic? Like, do y'all screw with the mask on? Like, I mean, do who goes to whose house? Who's hosting? Who's not hosting? Do you require to see their vaccination card before they come in? Like, what happens? These are real questions. Send me some, yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking about it, you know what I mean? I had to take a moment, y'all. I'm sorry, I just, if y'all had, listen, let me, uh, child. Okay. So I guess the answer is get a booster shot. Get a booster shot. Get a booster shot. If you know that you, and let me be clear, everybody don't have to necessarily get a booster shot immediately. Let me say that. Like, everybody don't have to get a booster shot immediately, in the sense of, if you got, some folks got their boosters in September. Certain people I know who were trying to get to my wedding, they was like, look, I'll get it. And they got it in August. So it might be too soon for you to get a booster shot if you're in that team. Like, all of the folks that are like, got their booster shots like in August or whatever, yeah, no. But if you got your booster, if you got your shot, your vaccinations, your full vaccinations before June, I would say look into a booster shot now. And I would also say that I've been hearing stories, different people have different experiences from the booster shot. I will tell you, as somebody who got a booster shot, I only had to get a half dose because I did not have any pre-existing conditions. And it wasn't a situation where I needed a full dose. I needed only a half a dose, given my circumstances. And if you fit in that category, it doesn't, I would say that I didn't have a crazy withdrawal or result. Everybody's different. Some people, I heard people got the second booster, the second shot, right? And they were like, oh, they really felt that second shot because it was like a full dose. It was really strong and their body was whatever. And I've heard that. I think with the booster, though, if you're somebody who's young, you're under 65, you don't have any other major health issues, you only probably gonna need a half dose. And honestly, I didn't have a crazy like experience. I mean, honestly, I felt pain at the injection site right where I got the shot, but outside of that, I mean, just really just take it easy. Like, you know, anytime you're getting any type of vaccination, whether it's the flu shot, whatever, I always just tell people take it easy that day. You know, drink water, stay hydrated. You know, just take it easy. Don't do the most, regardless. Just take it easy, and that's what I did, and I was fine. So, I would just say, you know, get that booster shot, get it, because especially we're about to hit the winter, holiday parties are coming up. You gotta restock on that stock, if you feel what I'm saying, and that's what I had to do. I looked at it like we are headed back into flu season. I had already got my flu shot early in October, but I know there are people that's getting both shots in both arms and all that, separate arms, one arm on left, one on right. I know people doing that, and you can do that. I personally feel like you should probably, I mean, my opinion, unless you're going to be out for the count, you never know. You might need to take a nap or something. Listen, separate them. Don't get them back to back like that. But, you know, it varies. I got the IV drip from City Hydration, and a lot of people have been asking me about that. Y'all saw those photos. It was fabulous. I have no complaints. I did feel an energy boost. I've been feeling good ever since that. I haven't had any like hangovers, any grogginess, any crazy type of situations like that. I've been feeling good since I've gotten it, and I do feel an energy boost. I do feel less tired. I feel like I got a new renewally charged body. Like it's like almost like a new battery in me. It definitely has given me like this energy. I just feel just full, and you know, I don't know. I liked it. I got the immunity booster, which I think was great for the holidays, right? And then I got it with the NAD plus, which is this chemical that is like anti-aging. It also stimulates, I think, collagen. I think it also does something around weight loss. Like not by like that's why I got it, but like it just is like this fortified ingredient that just kind of does all this revitalization in your system. And it came, and I added it to my IV drip that was already with the immunity booster that had a high dose of vitamin C and other antioxidants and things. I mean, it was dope. And I just sat there. They found the vein. They put it in. And the thing is, the needle didn't stay in me the whole time. Once they made the poke, they connected the IV, and it just, I was connected to it. I had to keep my arm in place, and I mean, it didn't hurt at all. Like it didn't hurt at all, and like it happened. It went through me. It took me about like a good 1 hour and 90 minutes, about 90 minutes to 2 hours for my drips in particular. And the whole time, I slept a little bit. I just stayed up. I listened to music. I just chilled, and I felt good. And the moment it was over, I want to say I just felt this. It grows upon you throughout the day. Like it was like a real like recharge. Like instantly I felt it, but then I want to say throughout the day, once those minerals and things like seeped in my body, and I was eating and digesting, drinking water, and just going through my day, I just kept feeling elevated. And it lasts too. It's like a replenishing and recharges the body. I can't describe it enough. But it was great. I got a City Hydration. It's pretty affordable. You go there, you tell them what your needs are. They create a customary IV. You're looking at around $100 to $200 to do it in its full, vibe. You could do a little bit more. You could be extra with it, but it's very in that range. And it is a luxury item. It's not a necessity, I would say. Some people do it weekly. Some people do it monthly. I think I'm going to do it seasonally, like in my mindset, because I'm young, I'm hip. So I don't feel like I need to do this like every week. But what I will tell you is that I heard that for people like Justin Bieber used it a lot when he was on his rehab tip. Like when he was recovering, he was doing this like every week. But he was also like, y'all saw Justin Bieber, He needed that every week through his rehab processes. But all of us ain't spending no $300, $200, whatever dollars a week to own something. Like we just can't. Some people I know do it twice a month, but they're a little bit older. I hear for women, it helps with cramps. I don't have cramps. I don't know what that's like, but I've heard stories that it helps with cramps, sleeping better, things like that. I feel like for me, my mindset is that I will probably do it every season as a season recharge. So like as we get into this fall winter era, I felt like it was time to restock. I feel like I'll probably do it again in the spring, like just get me geared up, and I'll probably do it midsummer again, and maybe do it like in that fall. So like that, it's like 4 times a year. There's 4 seasons, so 4 times a year. I feel like I'll kind of just do it as a recharge of my body and my mind and my spirit. So that's my plan. But everyone can do it different times. You might feel like you need to do it every week. And the way I was told by one of the people there at City Hydration who masters this is that everyone at City Hydration, they just don't do IVs. They do facials. They do other things. They apparently are big on this. They have nurses. Their people are certified nurses and things of that nature. So they like know how to treat patients and help people. And it's not like a hospital, y'all. It's a very nice like therapeutic wellness clinic. That's how I would describe it, like a wellness clinic. Like they have all types of, they do their shashakas or something like that. They do all kind of different type of saunas, heat saunas, these really cool hydration facials. They do all kind of cool stuff there. And they're in the neighborhood around 13th and I think 13th and Walnut, I believe, around that area. They're in the Philadelphia building, and they're great. They're fun. I really definitely have nothing but good things to say about the experience. So that was fun. So one of the things that has been an adjustment for me, I will say, and this was something that people had talked about and they saw on my social media this week. I did I'm not going to call it a rant. I hate the word rant. I know they say Kanye, and I think part of the reason I like rants is because people say Kanye rants. And so I just am like, I don't like to call what I do a rant, because I feel like a rant is just you talking and just going off about something, but there's no real purpose or meaning. It's just you spouting off bullshit. And that's not what I do. So I don't think it was that. I call it a stream of consciousness. I was definitely just expressing some real thoughts, and I wanted to hit a certain way, and they did. And I appreciate you all for reading the thread, I did it on Instagram story. And I don't do them often, but it's when you see that black box and you see nothing but a series, I'm telling a story or I'm telling some theory or thoughts. But one of the things that I've been seeing on social media, and I mean, this has been happening forever. So let me be clear. I'm not Christopher Columbus. I'm not discovering anything. He didn't discover anything either. But I'm just saying, I'm not trying to position myself like I'm discovering something that isn't already out there. But at least for me, I felt like I wanted to say something because I finally had the words to say. And I think what I appreciate about my followers and you all who listen to my podcasts and read my articles is that I don't move off of compulsion. I think a lot of what drives social media today, because it wasn't always like this, but today, I feel like is compulsion. People feel like there is an impulse within them that they have to react and respond to something immediately. And I'm from the mindset that everything does not deserve or warrant that instant reaction, because sometimes you haven't had time to process or to digest. It's like when you listen to an album. There was a time in the industry where, people got to listen to albums before they came out and listen to it for a while and listen to it multiple times and really got to sleep with it and sit next to it and process it and then decide to themselves, okay, why is this album good or great or whatever? I mean, the same can be said for movies, but music is a little bit different because you have to listen to it. Movies, you can watch a movie, you don't have to watch a movie 1,000 times to process it. Sometimes you can have an instant reaction or thought after going through it because it's very visual and sound. Same with TV, certain TV shows. But with TV shows, it's important to watch it in totality rather than just watch one episode and judge the show, right? You have to watch it in totality, watch a season, multiple episodes or something. Music, I think, requires multiple listens and some time with the material. Movies are a little bit different than that. But we've gotten to this point in culture where a person can listen to the album one time or quickly and then go 5 stars, best album ever. And it's like, wait a minute. Did you take some time to listen to these songs? Did you take some time to listen to this album? Did you get references? Did you take some time with it? I take some time with material. I think about what I'm consuming and how I'm consuming it before I form an opinion. And I think that when we're dealing with cases or incidents that involves the death of people or trials where there's verdicts and things, you got to figure that out, and I just think we're sometimes in the space where everybody just want to have something to say. It's like it doesn't have any meaning anymore because it's too fast. It's just like you just already got something to say. You already have a take and maybe finessed and processed. And so I think what makes my work really good, and I think why people really consume it, is that I do take time with some things. I do reflect. Not like I drag my feet for a month. Not like I'm being a Kendrick Lamar and like waiting a whole fucking year and have nothing to say about whatever. But maybe, who knows, right? It's just, at the same time, I do think we can take some time, especially when we're dealing with the importance and the significance of certain incidents and experiences, to formulate something new to the conversation. Now, if you're just pissed, just be pissed. But to lack a serious reflection or thought, or give something, bring something new to the table if you're going to be a thought leader in that space, is just daunting to see. And sometimes, and I've learned this too, and I've said this before, that I get annoyed sometimes when people say to me, "Oh, I was waiting for you to say something about this." It's like, maybe I don't have anything to say that hasn't been already said. Ever thought about that? I mean, maybe I don't. And I don't sometimes. I'm like, I'll see people say something and say, you know what? I fucks with that. Yeah, I agree. Retweet. That's all I have to offer. I don't have anything in myself to give to this that hasn't been said already. And sometimes there's just things I just don't want to speak on because I don't feel a connection to it in a way that I think requires my opinion. And I'm happy that I've been training and grooming my audience to recognize what to expect from me, what not to expect from me, what to recognize my approach rather than be fixated on my response. Because the thing is that if you're only looking at response, but you're not looking at the style or the decision to respond, then you're missing the entire effect of it all, to be honest. Like, I think for me, it's like, I get annoyed sometimes when people are like, oh, like, no, everything I'm not. And also there's a level of predictability in that. Like, there are certain people that people look at as just watchdogs or just like ambulance chasers, or folks that just like every single time something happens, people go to them. Like that's not how I work. I'm not CNN. No shade. I'm not, Fox News. I'm not, I respond to things that I feel like either there's not enough being said about it, or there's an angle that's missing from the conversation that I think that I would like people to consider. If I'm seeing patterns of something being talked about, I'm like, oh, have y'all ever considered this aspect? Or if it's a connected topic connected to me and I feel comfortable discussing. Like, for example, the Boosie situation. There's only so much of that shit I'm going to talk about before I'm like, you know what? This isn't really, like, a thing. Like, Boosie, like, every time Boosie antagonizes Lil Nas X, I think we should not keep giving it the same attention and response every fucking time. Because at some point, we all realize that this becomes a broken record, and then it becomes a joke. Like, now what has happened, which is so sad, is that really Boosie is sexually harassing Lil Nas X. It is sexual harassment. I talked about this in previous podcast episodes. He is deliberately coming after this individual's sexuality, and he is weaponizing in ways to create harm and intimidation. That is sexual harassment, ladies and gentlemen. He is sexually harassing Lil Nas X. And he's deliberate and intentional on doing that, right? He's bringing sex into the conversation in ways that Lil Nas X is not inviting. It's unwarranted. He's not asking for it. Lil Nas X is not for the most part, I mean, at some points he's throwing shots and antagonizing and pushing back. But in the very beginning of how this all went down, Lil Nas X was not asking for Boosie's input on anything that he had going on. And it was an invitation that that Boosie decided to put out himself. And there's jokes and references and suggestions of what that could be about. And as a gay man who's been through this, I know how men like Boosie act because I've dealt with men like Boosie before. It is a complicated situation because in some sense you can sense that there could be sexual provocation there. Like, is there some interest that he might probably have? Is Lil Nas X's presence provoking him in a way that sparks something in him to have to respond? Doth thy protest too much is what Shakespeare wrote. Who knows? But does it fucking matter, right? Does it matter to Lil Nas X whether or not Boosie could be potentially curious or interested? It's not his cross to bear. Referring to Lil Nas X, it shouldn't matter, doesn't matter, right? What matters is that this is a man who, for whatever reasons, feels like he's entitled to have an opinion and to threaten harm and to threaten all these things towards a young man who has no interest in him. For sex, for fellowship, for connection, for engagement. And the fact that he continues to pursue this man in ways that is trying to get his attention is harassment. And it is rooted in a conversation around, an unwarranted conversation around this man's sexuality, which makes it sexual harassment. And it's consistent. And it's deliberate. And it's to the point now that anytime Lil Nas X do something sexual, do anything that's in his agency, here comes jokes about, oh, I don't know, Boosie might have an opinion. Boosie might, this gonna piss Boosie off. And it's like, we can almost predict that Boosie's gonna have a reaction. Why? And there's a part of me that feels like it may not even be that deep. That perhaps, well, it is deep. But is it deep in that direction versus the deep in the sense that Lil Boosie, right, is in this mindset where he is formulating his relevance and his identity based off of Lil Nas X. That he is thirsty for attention and he's found a target. Because before it was Lil Nas X, it was Zaya, okay, Dwayne Wade and Gabrielle Union's daughter Zaya Wade, where he was talking about a young child that was dealing with their gender, their transition, and everything else, and Boosie has something to say about Zaya. So it seems that there is a pattern where Boosie has realized that he is going to get attention and validation off of the antagonization of young Black queer people. Because he ain't coming for them white folks like that. He's not coming for white queer people like that. He's very specific on targeting young Black youth that are queer. That's walking in their truth, that's walking in their identity and their empowerment. He's going after confident Black queer youth. That's disgusting, and that's intentional. And every justification that he could be making to try to explain why he's doing it. Oh, I'm concerned about the kids. We could talk about how that's hypocrisy because he out here hiring prostitutes to sexually assault his teenage children, right? Like, he's talking about hiring escorts, and these are female escorts on his young children. Like, you're not concerned about your children's well-being. You shouldn't even be able to raise your children with that kind of behavior. But this is deep. And so I am going into a tangent, but I'm saying this all to say that we have to recognize how social media has created an environment, continues to, where everything is being done off of impulse, it's being done off of reasons for clout chasing, and that these motives that try to trigger us and provoke us sometimes don't always warrant an instant response or always an often response. Like, how many times are we going to keep talking about Kanye's antics? How many times are we going to keep acting like the Kardashians are not literally stunt queens on steroids? How many times are we going to keep reacting to Candace Owens and some dumb racist shit she says that's anti-black, right? How many times are we going to keep reacting to every single fucking stupid thing that the same characters are doing? It's almost like you could create, and I am going to probably do it, like create a timetable where it's like only about maybe 10 human trolls on the internet, right? Maybe Summer Walker's on that list. But literally, sit down with me, like listen to this. Let's sit down together and come up with this list. Because I'm convinced that there is about 10 people, maybe a dozen folks on the internet that are in routine doing antagonistic shit to get us all reacting, responding. Dave Chappelle, Joe Rogan, Candace Owens, Kanye West, T.I., Kevin Hart sometimes, and the Kardashians that are always, how could I forget? Sean King, Dr. Umar Johnson, Nasheed, or whatever his name is, that are going to consistently, Tariq Nasheed, right? That's going to consistently do things on the internet that's going to trigger us. And we're going to consistently react and respond. Boosie, T.I., like these guys are going to always, it's like a list of them. Like, I'm serious. Let's like form a list. And every single week, you're going to see something in the shade room by one of these clowns. It's going to be a routine thing. And we're always going to react. And that's going to create blogs. And now we can add Will and Jada in the mix now. They're in the mix, right? There's like a list. I'm serious, y'all. Like, let's write that list together. It's about 20 of these clowns. About 20. Maybe a little bit more. But about 20 clowns on the internet that are going to do shit weekly to keep staying in the internet and build their identity off of it. And they're going to keep doing that. And we're going to keep on reacting and being, oh my God, did you hear this person? Nikki might be, we could throw Nikki in there. Like there's a couple of these folks and they're going to consistently do shit. And every week, I bet you, and you know how I know? Because I want to do 52 weeks in a year, right? Let's do all of 2021 and look at each week where one of these clowns were not in the news. They're literally in the news routine. It's only the same circle of idiots that do shit every single fucking week. And they're rotating. So like this week, it's not about Kanye. But 2 weeks later, it's going to be about Kanye. This week, it's about Kim. And this week, it won't be about Kim. So then we got to rotate to Candace Owens. Candace Owens hasn't done nothing in 2 weeks. So she's going to do something next week. You can predict the clownery of these people. Like Dave Chappelle's in the loop. Okay, what did Dave Chappelle do? Okay, he did the shit with the kids this week. Last week, he was off for his fuck shit. So then, who was in the news the week before, right? I'm telling y'all, look at the list. They are rotating their antics. They're rotating them. It's become a pattern now. It's become so predictable. Joe Rogan on some shit. He was on some shit last week. So who on some shit this week? Trump? Like, it's the same pattern of people that are like rotating their antics amongst themselves. And all we keep doing is reacting and responding. And shame on outlets like the Shade Room. I'm so sick of the Shade Room. Shade Room has had me on there many times. I'm so sick of the Shade Room. I'm so sick of the redundancy and the call for reactions. Thoughts? Question mark. Thoughts. Who wants to hear everybody's fucking thoughts? I don't. I'm over it. Like, over some of these thoughts. Like, why? Why do we need to know everyone's opinion? Who thought this was a good idea to create an app where everybody's opinion, like, we were never supposed to know everybody's thoughts at one place. It was never supposed to happen. And look what's happened because of that. People with eating disorders, people just really soaking it in. And that's what made me create, my thread that day. Because I was sitting here like, why is everyone doing the fucking most on social media? I don't know. I don't know if it's the holidays, but it's the force of the majeure for me. It's just, where is everyone forcing it? Like, it's just, I'm just going through my timeline like, this is fake. What the hell are you doing? Oh my God, talk to a therapist. This is dramatic. Why is this happening? Oh my Lord, save that. Delete that. I just had a moment where I was just scrolling through my timeline and I just saw a lot of bullshit. And I was just like, some of these people, right? They talk about how they got these new jobs and good salaries and all this good stuff, and I'm happy for them and all that. But then every so often, every 3 months, they're at a breaking point where they're just pouring out how miserable they've been and depressed they've been. I'm like, oh my God. And then part of it, you're like, well, all that time you was faking good vibes only. That was a lie in the facade. You was lying the entire time. Oh my God. That's like my fake reaction, but that's really how I'm like. Like, you're seeing this happen often on social media where it's a group of people that are, and there's a lot of people, right, that do this whole everything is lovely, and then there's some seasonal depression or something where then they pour out that everything hasn't been well, and you're like, well, what the fuck? And it's just too much. I see diary entries. I see all these things. And I just feel like I had to have a coming to Jesus moment with people. It was like, listen, y'all, I need you all to create a social media activity plan. And people thought I was joking. But I'm telling you, I need an SMAP. And that's that. An SMAP. An SMAP. I need an SMAP, a social media activity plan. Create that for yourself. I did this many years ago because I'm not talking from a place of judgment or I haven't. I'm walking the walk. I'm talking this talk because I've walked that walk. Because there was many years ago where my social media was definitely combat Carl. Okay? I was definitely combat Ernest on my social media. And I was getting in conflict, which is normal. Conflict is normal. I'm not somebody who gonna act like I don't be getting no drama and conflict. No, I get in conflict all the time. But it was the way I was going about it on social media that I felt like something's got to change. Because it shouldn't happen like this. I felt like who I wasn't being the person that I am 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 90% of the time was not being conveyed on social media because the 10% of what I was getting into was taking up and defining the 90% of who I was. And at some point you shouldn't give a fuck, but like it does, right? Because it's like, I don't want people to think that all I'm doing on social media is just getting into it with people and, clashing. I don't want this to impact my brand in the sense that there are bags I'm here to secure and I am not getting them because of what this perception is that I am a part of, right? Like, don't get it twisted. When I curse people out, I was right. When I was popping off, I was right to pop off. But I realized every conflict did not have to be broadcast on social media. Every conflict wasn't supposed to be other people's entertainment. And I was looking at these people that were watching those fights, egging it on, gassing it up, but then privately was screenshotting and whispering and talking shit behind my back about the drama. And they weren't helping me progress my career or finding ways to help. And it was just a moment where I sat down and I thought about it. I was like, damn, what's happening here? Why are certain things not happening the way I want them to? And who's capitalizing off of this conflict? Who's benefiting from this drama? And how do I take back my voice and control? And so I made a decision, very much so in my career at that moment, which was only a couple years ago, that I'm not going to let this outlet, this platform, these platforms, right, stop me from what they are. Social media for me, at least for me, I can't tell you what it can be for you, but it's an outlet. It's an outlet of my will, of my choice. What am I going to use this for myself? I look, I got shit I need to promote. I self-promote. I'm not lying about that. I'm here to self-promote. I'm here to sell you shit. No, I'm here to sell you, not sell, but some stuff is for sale, right? But I'm here to discuss the things that I have going on that is of relevance to the people. I got an article I want y'all to read. I got an event I want y'all to go to. I got a podcast I want y'all to listen to. I got a book I want y'all to one day buy. I'm here to tell you all what I have that I have to promote. I'm here to self-promote. I am not going to deny that because let's be clear. I have a talent and I've been blessed with a gift. And I have a talent that I believe that people want to consume and embrace. And so let me give y'all that, right? Let me give y'all the things, my gifts, the gifts that I feel like distributing, how I want to. This is what this is for. This social media platform is a place for me to expand my horizons, to network, but to also showcase my skills and my talent. So I said, okay, that's what I'm going to use it for primarily. I'm also going to use it to have fun, to give you all fun life updates that are accessible to public. I'm not hiding anything that's already public information because at the end of the day, what's the point? So I'm going to have fun life experience updates, like being married and things like that, right? But then also I'm going to, give opinions about general topics that you all are talking about and care about. Emphasis on the general topics. So what I'm not going to do is use my social media platform to air out personal conflicts. Now, if the personal conflicts are public, then yes, I'm going to speak on it. Mark LaMahia, me had drama. Yes, I spoke on it. But am I going to talk about family problems? Am I going to talk about issues I might have in my friend circles? Am I going to talk about drama that's happening professionally with a colleague or something? No, I'm not going to do that because I don't think that is of public consumption. I don't think that has anything to do with the public at large. I don't think you all care to know about it. Maybe y'all may be nosy. But at the end of the day, it's nothing that is going to move anything for me forward or do anything for transparency's sake. It does not matter. Because at the end of the day, I don't care to know what's going on in your personal life with your friends or your colleagues or whoever. I'm just never going to use my social media to broadcast those feuds. If there's disputes, that's what a phone is for. My new rule of thumb is if I have the person's phone number, and I'm not talking about politicians because politicians is just like, that's again, y'all, I'm paying y'all taxes. That's not a different conversation. But as far as personal friends and personal relationships go, if I have your number, I'm calling you, I'm texting you, there's going to be a meeting. But that doesn't have to be for public consumption. I'm not Real Housewives of Philadelphia. It's not a camera. We're not getting a check. I'm not doing that. And that's something that I learned very early. Like, I'm not doing that anymore. I did not do that in the past for my own detriment. But in moving forward, that's not how I get down. So that's one. The other thing that was important to me, too, is that I'm also not hiding anything either, to a certain extent. If it comes around and people find out, hey, I don't think you care much for that person. I don't. Not going to broadcast out loud, but I'm not going to fake it either. I'm not fake. I think there's a lot of people who do a lot of this fake shit on social media. I don't do the fake. I'm not going to pretend I like a person I don't. If you catch it, my followers catch sometimes that I may not like a certain, they're like, oh, I don't think he care much for this particular person because he'll be, no, I don't. They'd be like, oh, you don't follow her. Y'all don't, you ain't said nothing about a certain soul's book that come out. No, because I don't like her. I think she's fake. I'm not saying who that person is. You could guess who that person is, but I'm not going to say names. I just think that you have to read the room. And I think for me, I'm not going to be fake on social media. There's certain things that if you don't see me talking about it, it's for a reason. If you don't see me gassing it up, it's for a reason. If you don't see me highlighting it, it's for a reason. And sometimes it just be not even in my orbit. But I'm saying that I'm not going to be fake online either. And there's ways for you not to be fake without being belligerent. Is that you don't have to always tell everybody how you feel about something. If people can piece it up together and figure it out, might be right, might be wrong. Who knows? But that's not going to be, I'm not going to take up my platform to give all of that reason. And that's something that I have had to learn. I sometimes slip up, sometimes. But I'm human. But I think that is a trait and a thing I have worked on, I've learned. But also, that being said, I am a human, I am a person. And so I'm not going to like be a robot either. Like, I think that that's one of the things that annoy me about social media is how some people are like hiding details that matter. If you are a parent, I think people should know you're a parent. Should you put your kids on your social media? That's up to you. But I think there's details you should not hide. If you are somebody's husband, I think people should know you're somebody's husband. If you're somebody's father, I think people should know that too. There's a lot of men, specifically men, that be on this internet, child, hiding the fact that they somebody's daddy, hiding the fact that they married, sliding up in the ladies' DMs, having things to say, and some of these men's DMs, okay, and then be like, oh, you got a whole wife, you got a whole family, what the fuck? Like, that be happening. So I don't think people should understand that you can be private without hiding. I think that's the real, like you can be private without being secretive. Okay? Stating that you're married does not mean we know what's going on in your marriage. Okay? Stating that you have a child don't mean we know how you raise your child. I just think there's just some things we need to be clear about, but we don't also have to disclose everything. And I think that's the problem, is that some people out here are keeping things in secret, trying to act like they're being private. No, what the fuck Drake did with that child, his situation with Adonis, that was secret. That was secretive. And that's not cool. That's my opinion. But that wasn't cool, in my opinion. We ain't hiding children. We're not hiding relationships. Okay, we don't gotta tell everybody what's going on, but I do feel like you should tell people that you're in a situation. For everybody's sake involved. Like, don't get people's feelings caught up out here in these streets. Nobody likes that. Nobody likes that at all. Okay? So these are the lessons I learned. Very much so. That for me, it's about being relatable, but not always attainable. And that was also important to me too. I think sometimes you can be relatable, but you always got to be attainable. I'm not everybody's goal. I don't want to be goals. I want to be myself. I don't want to be everybody's aspiration. I don't want to feel like everybody can get access to me. I'm not always accessible. I'm not going to always respond to every DM. I'm not going to always meet everybody for coffee and lunch and tea. Sometimes I will meet some people. Some people, no, I don't have the time. Or you're too vague. It's like, when you get these random DMs, I don't know if people can relate to this, but like, hey, I like what you got going on. We should do lunch. No, I don't know who the fuck you are. You could be a sociopath. I've had to give people cease and desist letters before. Okay, I've had stalkers. I just don't just do lunch with no context. Hit me up in an email, say, hey, I am working on this project. I have a company, blah, blah, blah. We want to pay you to come out to do this. If it's of interest in you, can we have a conversation on phone or something? Okay, you talking a check, there's business, maybe there's a conversation. That's going to get me a little bit more excited. Not saying I'm transactional, I'm just saying that my time is limited. And my time doesn't have to be justified for anybody else. This week for Philadelphia Magazine, I wrote about 3 things I learned since being married. And some people read that and they were like trying to, I don't know. Some people read it the right way. Some people read it like, they didn't understand what I was saying. Let me break this down. The 3 things I learned since being married, and this is all circling into this overall conversation, is that I learned that, when you do get married, you do have to think of things twice, of double. Before I was married, we definitely did things together. That's not anybody who knows us and hang out with us, we do things together, but it's that a lot of times we now think about it more intentionally. Like, we have a calendar, Google Calendar. We plan stuff. We text each other. We're like, hey, you're free for this. We got to do this. We want to do this. We make that time more, rather than it being spontaneous. In the past, it would just be like, look, I'm going to this thing. And he's like, okay, cool. But like, who's to say that maybe we were supposed to spend time that night? Or maybe we could have. Or maybe we should have talked about it or planned it. I think being married put me in a position, really put us, both of us in a position, actually, to carve out planning things more and thinking more ahead and knowing what we're all doing at once. And we've been living together for years, but it's just, I think when you get married, there is more of that. You think more about that. That being said, I don't think you're supposed to do everything with your partner. I made it clear on my piece and even in general that I do get this sense that when people get married, everybody thinks that means that this person is every day with you, always hanging out with you, got to go to everything with you. I go to a lot of media events, and I love that is a time for me to utilize it with my friends. I love going out to the bars. I was just hanging out with my good Judy Laura the other day, who went to go see Ernestly, and I would have loved to go see it with her, but anyway. I like hanging out with my friends and having these relationships that are not centered around, I do focus on the Beichel test in my own relationship, that test that is in films that says, can you do a movie with 2 women and are talking to have a conversation? It's not about a man. Well, clearly I'm a man, but I'm just saying I practice a sense of what is it like to sometimes be with friends and it's not centered around your partner or your love life or things of that nature. I still like to have my platonic relationships with my friends and have those things. And so does he. And I think that what's good about it is that when you have those times apart, you have something to talk about when you get home. Like I like coming home and I'm like, oh my God, I went to this event tonight. Oh my goodness, I have stories to tell. And things I could say to him that maybe I couldn't say in the moment because there was so much going on. But it's important to have that. And I think that that's what's kept our relationship strong all these years, is that we've had good mixtures of relationships, heterogeneous relationships where everything is not always us together, exhausting each other the fuck out. Because I've seen that too. I've seen couples that I feel like are always out with each other to the point where it's annoying for those looking, and it's annoying. I'm gonna get in trouble. No, there is a couple. It's a guy and this woman. First of all, they're a very odd couple. That's neither here nor there. But anyway, they always go to everything together, and it's so weird. And I'm just like, do you have a life outside of, like, do y'all have like everything together? They go to every event together, and it's like, oh my God. And every time people see them, they're just like, oh, here they come. And it's like, oh my God. And I'm just so happy that that's not myself and Mr. Johnson. That there's that space for us to be, and that we have our own friends, and our friends know each other's friends, and we all kind of cross-pollinate at times. But then there's also time for us to do our thing. And I think people sometimes do this thing where they say, my husband is my best friend, my brother, my father, No, I have family, I have people. And I think that's the problem, is that we should decompartmentalize roles. We should not be making our partner have all of the roles in our life. Now, granted, there might be people that fall out of your life. Like my father, my biological father, is dead. I now have a stepfather. That's fine. But I have brothers. I have other people that play different roles. I have a best friend. I have many best friends. And I like that I have different people in my life doing different things, being different roles, because that gives me balance. I think when you're having one person filling in all those gaps, that shit might feel good in the beginning, but then it can be toxic down the road. And I've seen a lot of friendships. I have homegirls and guys I know that will put that much into a particular relationship, and the shit goes south really fast. And I hate when I see that happen. But you gotta find that balance. And that's important to me. And that's something that I've definitely have thought about over the years. And when I talk to certain friends who get in relationships or situations, is that you gotta find that balance, because it can get hot and heavy, especially if sex is involved and other things are happening. You start thinking you can get away with it, but eventually it catches up. In the beginning, you might be puppy whipped in there. Yeah, I get it. We all have that experience. Because I think when Bear and I first dated, I think we were very much like that. Oh, we did everything together. Like the first, that phase of like, oh, we did everything together. But that's because we're connecting. That was a bonding time. Like we was, that we just did everything. We went out together. We just couldn't get enough of each other. And then eventually, by nature, we realized, okay, all right, my friends are calling, your friends are calling. I'm neglecting my whole friend circle. Okay, can I go out? Okay, you could go out? Okay, I'm going out. Take it out. And that was good for us. That was good for us in the very, very beginning. This is like back in 2014. But like, as time, we was working our careers and things, and then we was able to find that harmony and balance now. And so the thing that I do now, and I talked about it in my piece, and people love this, was I said that formal things I do with my man. Very like bar happy hours I do with my friends. And I'm not saying that's a strict rule that always is followed, but I would say about 90% of the time it is. Like when I think about galas and formal events, award ceremonies, things like that, I'm going with my plus one, and my plus one is my husband. Like we gonna go together, and sometimes we bring the whole crew because the whole crew can go. But I think like when you have those type of situations where it's a company gala or it's an industry event, and everyone's bringing their wives and things, I feel like that's a time where for me it's more appropriate for my husband to go with me to that, or I'll go to his event or whatever. Those types of things, I think that works perfectly for a plus one, right? Valentine's Day, get-togethers, dinners. Yeah, that's us. But there are some times where there's just like industry events where they're just fun, social, happy hours, everybody just coming through. My man don't need to go to that with me. I'm like, no, I'm calling my bestie Jamarcus. I'm hitting my girls. I'm going out with my friends. That's a friends outing. That's an opportunity for us to catch up. So I have found that balance for me and my mix. Now everybody's different, but I like that, and I think that has given me the peace and the harmony that I think is necessary in friendships and relationships, and I think that's why I do feel like my relationship has been pretty good. It's been the most stressless part of my life, which is interesting. A lot of people, their relationship is one of the most burdensome things. It is probably the easiest thing, and I thought it was going. Like I hear stories, getting married to this man, doing all of that was the most easiest, smartest, best decision of my life. Like it wasn't all this, I don't know. People, I don't know. Everyone's different, but it was just such a like I thought being married was or getting married, and just that was gonna be so heavy and a lot of fear and a lot of work. But when you're with somebody that really is your equal, that really is, the person that connects to you and molds with you, it really. I mean, I can't describe it. I think people who've been in it know the real ones. Okay, not these Kim Kardashian, Kanye obligatory public weddings. I'm talking that for people who really do it, it really is an effortless feeling. It really feels like a no frills. Yeah, we're doing this. I don't have any reservations. I'm not scared. Let's do it kind of mentality. If it's right, it doesn't feel heavy. If you're feeling heavy and unsure and scared, you might not want to do it. I'm just saying. I know the difference. My mother taught me the difference because she was in two different types of situations. She knew with my father that it was something she should have not done. She regretted it. But at the end of the day, she did it, and she don't regret having us, right? Me and the boys. But that being said, I've had friends who got married and they're like, listen, that shit was like putting on a pair of shoes. It was easy as hell. I was like, yeah, let's do it soon. Let's do it now. They just was in it because they just really loved each other. And it was just like a very easy, breezy, beautiful, bad bitch moment. And that's how my shit felt. Like, everyone's like, how do you feel? I'm like, I feel fucking fantastic. Like, are you nervous? No, you're making me nervous by asking all these stupid questions, but I feel good. It reminds me of King Richard when, Venus was having an interview and the guy kept asking her, how are you sure? How confident do you feel? And Richard is up there like, she just said she's good. Yeah, that's how I feel. Like, I feel good. Don't ask me 1,000 times. I really feel good. And I think people, like, those people who's got married in those ways, they will tell you it's not this nightmare. And when you're with somebody that you feel like you could be married to in that way, you know it when you feel it. I just can't describe it. You just know it when you feel it. It's like a yes. And there's no, I don't know, I'm reserved, I'm scared. You just know. And if you don't feel that feeling, then you're not with the person you should be married to. That's my opinion. Shouldn't do it. Don't do it. If you got all that fear, hesitancy, you're not with the right one. It's supposed to feel very easy, very organic, less frills. And listen, every relationship is not like you're coming in without any smoke. There's always going to be those things that you might have to work out and figure out and navigate. But like, you get to a point where you're just like, everything is just meant to happen this way. And I'm here with it. I'm rolling with it. We're rolling with it. And I don't feel anything. Like that's how it's supposed to feel. It's supposed to feel like a really good light cake from Cake Life. It's true. But yes. Yes. So, this guilty verdict with Ahmaud Arbery. I'm happy for the verdict. Clearly, those 3 men who was responsible for murdering this black man while he was jogging, living his life. I see pictures of him. One of the pictures that touched me the most is the picture of him, 2 pictures of him with his hat, and then one where he's in a tuxedo. I think it's like a prom photo. And I just look at him and I just feel like, everybody talks about this was justice being served. And I just, justice is if this young black man would still be here. That's justice. This is just accountability. And we don't get enough accountability, right? Because the week before, Kyle Rittenhouse was is still alive, right? And we didn't get that accountability. And I think that's where my head is at, is that in this system, I don't even know if justice is the answer or the outcome. I just think where we should be as in the place of accountability. And that's what I've been saying to a lot of people that I've been having conversations with about cases coming up. Like, for example, Kenyatta Johnson, who's a council member who is currently indicted with his wife, Don Chavot, and a couple other folks involved in, like Raheem Islam, and these other folks connected to this Universal property in Philadelphia. It's a big damn deal. People are like, well, what about, how do we get to the process of recovery and healing and da-da-da? I'm like, hold the fuck up. This reminds me, see, I'm snapping now, but I'm here. This reminds me of the concept of R. Kelly, where when R. Kelly was convicted, right, the jurors found him guilty, and everyone was like, so when do we begin that process of, hold the fuck up. Where is the part of accountability? We can't talk about the healing process. We can't talk about recovery, forgiveness. Stop all of that shit until we get some motherfucking accountability. And I think I did not know how to say that. But the issue I'm having is that everybody wants to talk about, skip all of that shit and go straight to, how do we forgive? How do we practice that? Hold the fuck up. You're missing something. It's called accountability. And everyone wants to talk about Bible verses and all that. You missed something. It's called accountability. We need consequences. Then let's have the conversation if you so want to have it, if you so care enough to have it. But I've caught people that the problems we're having in these systems with people who commit these crimes and do dirty things is that everybody want to jump up and talk about forgiveness. Hold the fuck up. We need to talk about accountability and consequences. Until there has been consequences rendered and accountability issued, we cannot talk about any of this repairing shit. Because there has not been anything to repair. I need to knock a motherfucker down before we can pick a motherfucker up, if that's the answer. But you don't know until you've gone through an accountability and a consequence process. And I think that has been what's been pissing me off in conversations. And for people like others who are listening to this podcast and have been having these arguments with family, with friends, and others around issues and situations, when everyone's like, well, we got to talk about this, we got to talk about second chances. How do you talk about second chances without accountability and consequences? So I'm all about that until we have the accountability and consequences process. And I didn't know how to put that in words, but I'm at the point where now I've thought about it and I'm here. See, I had to go through a process. And I also try to equip my people, right, the listeners, about this. Because these conversations are coming up now more often now that we're talking about justice and all this stuff. The conversation is, I tell people respectfully, and I've had them in my barbershop, of course, and I've had them other places. We can, all this about forgiveness, all this is fine, but we have to have accountability and consequences before we can talk about those things. So I hear all this talk about forgiveness and second chances. That's fine. The issue is that if you are about recognizing, because everybody say, I know what he did was wrong. Okay, pause. If we know what he did was wrong, we need to allow him to be held accountable. I want to hear more people talk about how said individual needs to be held accountable and rendered consequences. And then I can take you seriously. But see, if you're not talking about accountability and consequences before you talk about second chances and recovery, then that lets me know that you're not you're not trying to seek any justice or retribution or you're not considering victims. You're not considering those who've been oppressed. You have to think about them before you think about justice for the oppressor. See, too many people are trying to issue, atonement for the oppressor, but they have not taken time to assess atonement or benevolence or whatever to the oppressed. And so we have to do that first before we do the latter. And I hear these conversations, even when we talk about cancel culture, which, I read a book about the case for cancel culture, January 2023, shameless plug. We skip over conversations about accountability and consequences. And that's what I think cancel culture tries to do, is that it is the accountability and the consequences in the process. You can't just go, oh, this person canceled, let's give them a second chance. Hold up. We need to go back and see, were they ever held accountable? Were they ever given consequences? And if those things were not happening prior to, then I'm not giving no sympathy card for them. When I think about Dave Chappelle, I think about Kevin Hart and these people, did they ever get accountability and consequences? Some of them might have felt something, but like there has to be that. So all this pity, you can't call a person canceled unless they actually went through that process. Because I think of cancel culture as somewhat of accountability and consequence process. That the culture of which we talk about cancellation and how we're defining that, or how we're acting on that, in many ways is shaping up to be a process of accountability and consequence. We're not having that. And everybody's talking about consequence culture. I don't like that word. I like that term. I'll talk about it more in my book. You'll read more about why. I'm not going to get into that all right now. I'm not going to give all my goods. But I would just say that I do think we should rock with what we're rocking with. And also recognize at the end of the day that, again, there has to be accountability, there has to be consequence. And that's the process. And none of these people are canceled or experiencing those things if they haven't went through that process. We're telling a lot of people they're canceled when I'm sitting here looking like where and how. Okay? Because if you're canceled, you can't benefit off the cancellation. How you getting canceled but your books are selling, your CDs are selling, your movies are selling exponentially. You're making more money off the cancelization. So then that wasn't a cancelization. Then what the fuck was it? Read the book and find out more. But I'm just saying, we're using these words so loosely. We're getting reckless with our language. We're not processing what the fuck we mean and how we mean it. And that's what's causing us a lot of anguish. Just putting it out there. So, I had to talk about this, and I really am happy to talk about this. The Grammy nominations. What the fuck is going on? I just want to say, I am coming out of this as an industry person. I am in the industry. I have friends that are members of the Grammy, the Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. I'm a member of the National Academy of Television Arts and Sciences. And I have people that are friends of the Recording Academy. So, we're the industry girls. We know the business. We talk about the Grammys. I can talk about it because I'm about it. I'm so happy I can say that. Yay! But I can talk about this because I have had friends in the industry on that side of music. I listen to music and I write about music. And, as a writer for the Rolling Stones, I like to, be all up in the mix of the industry stuff. So the Grammys is wild. I want to say, I have mixed thoughts about it. I want to say overall, I like the nominations. I think that there was definitely a lot of love spread around. I can live with the nominations. There are, of course, situations where I felt like certain things should have not have happened. But honestly, I'm just nitpicking. I think overall, the nominations were pretty good. I think everybody, for the most part, got some kind of love. Unless it was Halsey. But I think that for the most part, there was just some good flavor and some good buzz. And I ain't mad at the list. I'm just going to keep it 100. I'm not that upset. There's some people that's throwing fists about certain things not getting whatever, right? But overall, I think there was some really good appropriate categories. So I'm going to start off with the general categories. I'm not going to talk too much about all the categories, but I do want to talk about some of the things I did here in the T. So for starters, Record of the Year is interesting. These are nominations. I Still Have Faith in You by ABBA, which is shocking. Okay, that was a shocker. ABBA, which I love ABBA. Okay, they're legends. Okay, they had Dancing Queen, was the final song of my wedding, so I was dancing to Dancing Queen. Okay, an iconic song. Mamma Mia, y'all. That is them. That's ABBA, okay? They're nominated for Record of the Year for I Still Have Faith in You. First time nomination, slid in there. Freedom by Jon Batiste, who has the most nominations this year. He has 11 nominations. Jon Batiste, you probably don't know who he is, but he's on a late night show. He's this cute black guy who is like a great jazz musician. Lots of great New Orleans roots. He just won an Academy Award for Best Score for his work in Soul for Pixar. So he already has an Oscar in his belt. And he's just all over the place with great music. So his song Freedom is nominated. I heard it. It's good. I Get a Kick Out of You by Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. They're also nominated for Album of the Year. And let me tell you something. I'm a little, let's just be clear. Tony Bennett is one of the oldest nominees of all time. He's like 95. This is basically people are predicting his last hoorah at the Grammys because he's got dementia. And it's like his last like live album, the album he's doing. And he did it with Gaga. He's been doing a lot of albums with Gaga before before everything. But, we don't know how long Tony Bennett's going to be with us, so I feel like the Academy is showing love. Peaches by Justin Bieber featuring Daniel Caesar and Giveon. It's been on the radio all year. I'll take it. It's the, I got my peaches out in Georgia. Yeah. Whatever. It's better than his last album that he had the year before. Okay? And that was the album with that song, Yum. She got that yum. So he's got a better album this year. But that last album was trash. Right on Time by Brandi Carlile. It's an okay song. Brandi Carlile's popular. We'll take it. Kiss Me More, Doja Cat featuring SZA. It's been on the radio. It's been a bona fide hit. It riffs off of that song by Olivia Newton-John, Physical. Is the background. But it's like, let's get... Kiss Me More, Kiss Me. It's got that same beat. Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish, which is just a banger. And y'all know I like Billie Eilish, okay? And also just Billie Eilish. She's won Record of the Year 3 years in a row. Bad Guy. And then last year was All I've Ever Wanted was the song that won. She's just a darling in the Record of the Year category. So who knows? Montero, Call Me By Your Name, Lil Nas X. Definitely a hit. Will not complain about it. Great music video. Was a number one on the charts. And was definitely a very talked about song this year. Driver's License, Olivia Rodrigo. Another big hit. Breakthrough hit. Olivia Rodrigo had a big year. Very popular song. A lot of people liked it. And of course, Leave the Door Open. Bruno Mars and Anderson .Paak, which they had that group Silk Sonic. Good God. Yes, they're also nominated. I don't know who's going to win this category. The Grammys did something unique this year, which is basically they allow for 10 songs to be nominated. The general Academy nominated. There's no special committee. So this is what The Weeknd complained about last year, which he's nominated this year 3 times. But he's not really, he didn't submit anything himself. But The Weeknd, was first of all, I don't know if you all know this, but Blinding Lights is the greatest number one hit of all time, meaning the greatest number one of number ones. It has been on the charts longer than any other Billboard song. And it's had the longest chart length of top 5-ness, top 10-ness. It's like a supersonic Billboard number one. It beat Chubby Chase. Chubby Chase was the ultimate number one. His song, The Twist, and just do the twist. Yeah. This is a song that came out nearly 50 years ago. Or I think it's over 50 years now. I mean, it's a hit. But Chubby Chase's The Twist was that number one that stayed on the charts forever and ever. The Blinding Lights by The Weeknd is now that hit. And he has the greatest hit of our number one hit of our generation. It's a big, massive hit. And to me, that should have won Record of the Year last year, not Billie Eilish. Love you, girl, but it should have been Weeknd. The Weeknd should have won Record of the Year, hands down. And After Hours definitely could have gave Dua Lipa and Taylor Swift a run for their money for Album of the Year. But Record of the Year is Record of the Decade. Okay, Record of our generation is The Weeknd's Blinding Lights. It was a massive hit. And the fact that The Weeknd completely did not get nominated in any categories last year really spelled trouble. Because anybody who had a prediction list knew that was going to be everywhere. It didn't get not one single nomination. And the reason why was because the Grammys have these special committees that are privately go in and they make their own nominations and their own thing. And it doesn't really factor in the collective of the group. This time around, they canceled all the special committees. So in these categories, special committees are not tainting these nominations. What they're doing, and I think that part of the Grammys doing that was they were trying to cut off the predictability of these things. Because to a certain extent, these nominations, right, they're pretty much on par. There's a couple surprises, but pretty much it's like these are all nominees that make sense. Like, I don't like Leave the Door Open, but Leave the Door Open was a big hit this year. Like, it should be in the list, right? There are songs that should be on there. And so I think that makes sense. In the past, the committees would try to, carve it out to offer variety and different tastes. But now people realize that it's actually hurting the Academy. And no shade, but I think that they did that in favor of Beyonce. That there was politics behind the scenes saying, okay, they were doing this to get certain artists to perform and show up to the Grammys for ratings. I mean, it's all kind of behind the scenes politics. But this year they just said, let the people decide. What was the music that people liked? And honestly, just letting the general members pick, the selections weren't bad because this really is the popular music of our moment. For starters. Just putting it out there. So The Weeknd got what he wanted, but The Weeknd is not participating in the system. And I ain't mad at him because he really does not need the Grammys to validate his massive success. He's just doing the damn thing. So Album of the Year nominations. We Are by Jon Batiste. Love for Sale by Tony Bennett and Lady Gaga. Justice by Justin Bieber. Planet Her, Doja Cat. Lady Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish. Back of Her Mind by Her, which y'all know I love her. And her is just having a moment, isn't she? Oscar winner too. Montero by Lil Nas X. Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. Evermore by Taylor Swift. Donda by Kanye West. Okay, so let's back up a little bit on this. The last minute, they included Evermore by Taylor Swift, and they included Donda by Kanye West at the very last minute. Those were like the final two that fell in by general nominations. People were going up in air about this, like, is this politics? Did the Grammys do this to be political? The truth of the matter is they just added the two songs because at the end of the day, they wanted to have more variety, and they did 10. They wanted 10 albums nominated. And it just so happens that Evermore and Donda were those final two. So what's interesting about this is that Evermore Album of the Year nomination, I think, is well deserved. It is one of the best albums of the year. I mean, Evermore just continues to chart. But what's interesting too is that it's the only nomination Taylor Swift got this year. She didn't get any best pop vocal nominations, any pop performances. I was like, oh, maybe Willow could slide in. But, Willow wasn't that bona fide hit. This is really just an album just to listen to. I think that it didn't have the individual hits. It just had the songs. The cohesion of the album is what made it. And she just won Album of the Year last year for Folklore. So it's great that she was able to pull off another Album of the Year nomination. She's just the best, man. It's like every album, she's getting, she's this I like this new wave of Taylor and well earned. She's not gonna win, but it's just great that she has another album that's even nominated. She just keeps going. She's in her prime right now. She's re-releasing albums that are charting, and then even her new music is still getting out. It's just wild to be Taylor Swift right now. I can only imagine what it's like to be at that level of your career, especially with the music. So, I'm impressed. I'm very impressed, and think she's doing incredible things. Donda, what a surprise! Kanye, he pulled it out, got that final, nomination. He's been talking a big deal about Donda. He's got other category nominations in the rap categories, but, it's interesting to see Donda in there. I don't know how I feel about it. I just think the one thing I'll say is that the whole Drake Certified Lover Boy versus Donda album beef sounds like I guess the industry was feeling Kanye's Donda more than they was feeling Certified Lover Boy. And I kept telling people, I said, Drake is on the downhill. I know that he's still up in the chart stuff, but this album did not do what his previous albums did. Like Drake normally takes over a season, an era. I just knew in my mind, here come all the Instagram captions, here come all the annoying replay. That didn't happen with this album. It just kind of came and went. It did not have that lasting impact that his previous albums. Like when Scorpion came out, Scorpion took over the whole year, and Scorpion got nominated for Album of the Year, like Views did. But Certified Lover Boy, I mean, it did a massive, big old, huge blowout the first week, and then after that, it's kind of been just like meh. Like no one's like fighting for this album. I don't hear, it used on there's no TikTok challenges. I mean, there's just no hype around it. I just kind of feel like it just kind of came and went. Kanye's been able to keep this Donda momentum going, and for a comeback album, I mean, for it to get Album of the Year, he hasn't had a major Album of the Year nomination since Graduation. Now, he was robbed for My Twisted Fantasy. And Life of Pablo could have probably gotten one, too. Yeezus, But the fact that he made all of the shit he did, for him to come back with an Album of the Year nomination, just goes to show you that, are these people really getting canceled? It's a real important question. But it's interesting, but, hey, okay, Kanye. So, Song of the Year, Bad Habits by Ed Sheeran, A Beautiful Noise by Brandy Carlisle and Alicia Keys, Driver's License, Olivia Rodrigo, Fight for You, which is the Oscar-winning song by her, now nominated in this category, Happier Than Ever with Billie Eilish, Kiss Me More with Doja Cat and SZA, Leave the Door Open, Anderson .Paak and Cruz and Bruno Mars, Silk Sonic, Montero, Call Me By Your Name, Lil Nas X, Peaches, Justin Bieber, and Right on Time, Brandy Carlisle. So, okay. Again, some of the similar folks we know. Song of the Year is about lyrics. So I don't know. I don't know who's going to get this. If I was a betting man, I would say Olivia Rodrigo. But then I don't want to sleep on Billie Eilish for Happier Than Ever, because she just gets it too. So I don't know. But if I was a betting man, I would say between Billie Eilish and Olivia Rodrigo. Record of the Year, I don't know who's going to get that, y'all. I don't know. It's weird. But if I was a betting man, well, also, too, you got Bruno Mars in there. They like Bruno, too. Leave the Door Open could slide up in there for Record of the Year. Billie Eilish could pull another one, though. I don't know. It's tough. Album of the Year, I don't even know who's going to get that either. That is tough, too. I know that Kanye and Taylor are not going to get it. But then you never know. Taylor could pull that upset. But she wasn't the highest getter in the nominations pool. So I don't know. But that Tony Bennett, Lady Gaga situation they might feel sorry for Tony Bennett and give it to him. They might pull that guilt trip and they might give it to him for Album of the Year. I just don't know. It's just too many nominations. And it's too many popular albums. It could go, you don't know what the energy is. It could go in so many different directions. Best New Artist is Aroj Aftab, Jimmy Allen, Baby Keem, Phineas, which is Billie Eilish's brother, who's, I guess, now a new artist. Interesting. Glass Animals, Japanese Breakfast, The Kid Laroi, who had a great career. Arlo Parks, Olivia Rodrigo, and Sweetie. Sweetie got nominated, which is pretty cool. I think Olivia Rodrigo is going to get it. I think everybody knows it's going to be her. She's killing it. Her and Lil Nas X, I'm really impressed with both of them. They both got the Album of the Year. She's got all the categories. She got all the general category nominations. Best New Artist, Song of the Year, Record of the Year, and Album of the Year nominations. That's pretty good for a new artist. The last artist to really pull off that feat was, that's right, Billie Eilish, who 2 years ago won all 4 of them and was the only artist since Christopher Cross to do that. Pretty impressive. Don't think that's going to be Olivia Rodrigo's story, but kind of cool. She'll get something, and I think she might get Song of the Year and she might get Best New Artist. So she might get 2 out of the 4. Who knows? But I definitely think Best New Artist is her. But I wouldn't count that Phineas, though. Best Pop Solo Performance, Justin Bieber, Brandy Carlisle. So this is anyone by Justin Bieber. Right on Time by Brandi Carlile. Happier Than Ever, Billie Eilish. Positions, Ariana Grande. Driver's License, Olivia Rodrigo. Um, I don't listen. I will tell you this much. This is what I will tell y'all. If Billie Eilish or Olivia, whoever wins in this category, will set the tone for who's going to win in the general. So if Billie Eilish pulls this one out, then that means record of the year and song of the year is going to be looking for her. And this looks like it's not going to be a good night for Olivia. If Olivia Rodrigo gets this, it might pull differently. However, I don't know, because as I will say, the year that Billie Eilish had won all her general categories, she lost in this category to Lizzo. And that got me shook, because I was like, oh, is Lizzo going to win these other categories? But Lizzo just won that Grammy and the R&B wins that she got. She got like 3 Grammys that night. She wasn't doing it without, but it was interesting. Other ones that I guess care for. Okay, Best Pop Vocal Album, Justice by Justin Bieber, Planet Her by Doja Cat, Positions by Ariana Grande, Sour by Olivia Rodrigo, and Happier Than Ever by Billie Eilish. What's fun about Best Pop Vocal Album is that basically all of 4 out of the 5 albums are nominated for Album of the Year. The only one it isn't is Ariana Grande. So for Positions, which people thought was going to get a album year nomination, but it didn't get it, which makes sense. So it's between Planet Her, Justice, Happier Than Ever, and Sour by Olivia Rodrigo. If Billie Eilish wins this, I am willing to bet that she is the contender to Grow the Beat for Album of the Year. I'm skewed to Billie Eilish in this, which means that I'm skewed to her getting Album of the Year. I will tell you, whatever this matters, Barry is a big Billie Eilish fan off this second album. He really loves her second album. He's been playing in the car since it's come out. And I mean, he might be the silent majority that might vote for her. I like the album too, and I really do like Billie Eilish. But I was like, maybe they're going to spread the love this year. I know Montero doesn't have a chance, but I would love for him to win. But the album isn't like... I like him, and I like what he's doing. I don't know if the album is in the... it's good that it's nominated. I'll just say that. But I do see it for her here. But we'll see. If Olivia Rodrigo could easily get it for Sour. But this also reminds me of the Grammys when Dua Lipa won last year for Best Pop Album. And then we all end up seeing Taylor Swift win Album of the Year for Folklore. So you just never know. They might give it to Olivia for this just to be cute, but then Billie takes the real crown. It's so complicated. As far as the other categories go, I mean, these are the major categories that I feel like are going to be ones that are going to be on TV, and 2, there's going to be the ones that we're going to all want to watch and bite our nails over. There's only one other category that I do want to discuss, and it's just based on just because I do think this is an interesting conversation. I'm looking up the category now. Okay, here it goes. Best R&B Performance. Lost You by Snow Allegra. Peaches by Justin Bieber and Daniel Caesar, featuring Giveon. Damage by Her. Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic. And Pick Up Your Feelings by Jasmine Sullivan. That is a tough category. It's tough. First of all, fuck Peaches. I would like to see Jasmine Sullivan get it. But I just feel like Silk Sonic is just going to take over everything. The other interesting one is Best R&B Song. Damaged by Her, Good Days by SZA, Heartbreak Anniversary by Giveon, Leave the Door Open by Silk Sonic, and Pick Up Your Feelings by Jasmine Sullivan. Let me just start by saying this real quick. I just hate the fact that, Silk Sonic has, one fucking song that was, their big hit. Everything else they've done has been trash. The album just finally came out, 2 weeks ago. So they finally have an album. And I'm just like, oh, is this going to be the album darling of the Grammys next year? Because it's so mediocre. I mean, Red, a re-released Taylor Swift album, beat them on the charts at #1, which she should have. And we haven't really, Silk Sonic's album hasn't really, it's just been there. And it's just so you guys are just doing the same music, so redundant, nothing groundbreaking. I'm not excited for it. But I mean, this song has been a hit. It has been a hit this year. But it's just like, oh, come on. Now it's taking up the R&B spaces. Bruno Mars, that bastard. I'm not crazy about it. I'm not crazy about him. And I don't really want him to win. I just don't. He's had his moment. And I'm just upset. I really would like to see Jasmine Sullivan win something. Now, for this R&B song category, though, all these songs are good. Pick Up Your Feelings is good. But I'm going to show you what I'm biased. The song I really want to win in the best R&B song category is Good Days by SZA. I'm sorry, but Good Days is a hit that stick like grits. And, listen, Heartbreak Anniversary is a sweet song too. That's cute. And, but I want to, listen, Good Days by SZA has just been a very good track. And I thought it could have got a Record of the Year nomination or something. It's so good. And she's good in it. And it's just such a really good song. I don't know. I would like her to win for that. Damage is good by her. Hers done better. It's a great song though. It's a really good song. But it's alright if she doesn't win. She's not without. Like I said, Silk Sonic don't need it. But I would say it would be good to see it. I want Jasmine Sullivan to win something. Maybe that's the one she wins. But I think that Hotels should have been nominated for Album of the Year. I was a part of that contingency of people that was like, it should be nominated for Album of the Year. A lot of people, and this is before I get off of this, a lot of people has been having a lot of conversations about Meg Thee Stallion and how they thought Good News was going to get a lot of nominations. Where? Thought Shit got nominated, and that's about it. Cardi has gotten some nominations too. I think Up is one of her nominations. I just don't. I don't understand. I didn't think the album was that good. I did think that Good News by Meg Thee Stallion was that good. I just felt like it was just a bunch of songs that were not cohesive. I thought she was experimenting too much, and it just didn't make sense. There was like this pop thing she was trying to do, and then some of her rap stuff just felt dated. I wasn't crazy about the album. I just thought it was just an album. I don't know why there was so much anticipation. Maybe the politics of it all, but I just didn't think the album was that good. That's just my take. What do I know? Speaking of things that we'll find out at the end of January, the Grammys are going to be live in person at the end of January. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Speaking of things and seeing what happens, I finally went to go see House of Gucci. I went to go see House of Gucci, the new movie that stars Lady Gaga and Jeremy Irons and Al Pacino and Jared Leto and Salma Hayek. And it was such a good, bad film. Campy and bad, with bad accents. Bad accents. It was horrible. Okay, no, so let me explain this. I did not, okay, so let me be fair. The movie should have not been a movie. I don't know what the fuck, okay, first of all, where did this whole idea of this being an Oscar movie come from? Was it because of the director, Roddy Scott? Was it because of just the A-lister actors? Like, Adam Driver. Like, who decided that this was a movie to discuss alongside the Academy Awards? Who? Where did that come from? It is not good. It's camp. It's a camp movie with A-listers. And listen, if you're into campy shit, the extravagance, the caricatures, all that shit, like for people who don't understand camp is Ryan Murphy. Like, everything Ryan Murphy makes is like camp, basically. So like he does it in such a way that's almost silly and over the top and dramatic, with like these weird, quirky, very weird moments, and it's over the top and very bold and outlandish, but at the same time created in a way that's supposed to make you take it seriously, even though there's elements of it that's cartoonish and silly. Like, for example, Impeachment is kind of campy. Like, the way that those actors are, the dramaness of them, the way that certain things is just done over the top, that's like camp. A lot of what Ryan Murphy does is camp. This movie is like campy in the sense that it plays off of those riffs of extremeness. And yet it wants you to take it seriously, but there's elements where you're supposed to, find it silly. Like Pose has elements of campiness in it, where there's those moments where, you're seeing those ballroom scenes and you're supposed to be in this moment, but then there's also these weird, like, what the fuck is that moment? Like, it's like that. And this is definitely House of Gucci. It's very over the top. It's very, and I think they want that, but then there's also disjointness. Like, the story, there was a bunch of stories happening at once, and I couldn't keep up with the narrative at some points. I was like, okay, we're going here, we're going there, we're going back to here. It's a lot going on, and it's a lot of nothing. It's just gorgeous gowns, beautiful gowns. The costumes are great. The hair is great. The hair and makeup team did a phenomenal job, and I think that that's going to get an Oscar nomination. But the glamour of it all, and all of this for what it amounted to, just didn't stick. It just wasn't enjoyable. Barry and I went to go see it. It's 2.5 hours long. It's super fucking long for its own good. It didn't need to be that long. There's a lot of editing. I'm like, they could have cut to make that shit stick a little bit better. I just felt like it just dragged on at a certain point in time. And the story is fun, but there's also just a lot of missed opportunity. So let's get to just the overall film. Out of 5 stars, I would give that motherfucker 2.5 stars. I would give it 2.5. 2.5 out of 5 stars. 2.5 stars. It just didn't hit for me. I mean, there's parts of it where there's moments, right? But it's just not anything best picture worthy. It's none of those things. This is just, in a year where there's a lot of really strong contenders right now, give that seat up to somebody else. Because Gaga isn't it for this. I mean, she's not so I want to say this. Gaga is a movie star, and she's going to be a movie star. She was great in A Star is Born. In this film, she's not a bad actress. It's just that it's very, there is caricatureness to it. She's in a film where she is dominant. She is the best thing to the movie. I think that Gaga is the saving grace of the film, I guess, like in the sense that she is the thing that kind of keeps you watching it. But it's nothing. And I will say that what I did appreciate about this particular role is that I appreciate about her acting is she is committed to the character. She is like, I struggle. There are parts where I'm like, is Gaga playing somebody and she likes to play? Maybe it was the accent that made me sometimes feel like, okay, there's parts where I don't see Gaga. I see Patricia and I don't see any of Gaga. And then there's elements where I do feel like there's this quirk of Gaga who can't get out of herself in these roles where she's letting you know and she wants you to know. And it's just very clear that she wants an Oscar and I'm just like, don't give it to her. And it's just, it's I don't know. I felt like it was just very characteristic, cartoonish. It was just, a lot of it was throughout the film. I mean, Al Pacino's trying to do his thing. Jeremy Irons is good. I mean, Jeremy Irons can't fuck up for the life of him. Salma Hayek, I felt like, and Jared Leto was in on the campiness of the film. They were fine. Jared Leto's just silly, and I don't know if that was acting or if that was just a bad Italian impersonation. I don't know what he was doing. I think the makeup and the prosthetics make you feel like he's doing something so great, but essentially that's the reason why you think he's good is because you're putting a bunch of makeup and prosthetics. And everybody's so caught up in the whole, this is, he's mimicking. And I'm getting tired personally. And it's not about King Richard, because I appreciate King Richard. But why is everybody now doing biopics? Like, there's all these biopics. And I think there's a lot of female biopics out now where, like, everybody's like the best way to be close to an actor. I'm thinking about the Tammy Faye, or whatever that film coming out, Spencer, this Gaga film about Patricia, like Jennifer Hudson and there's Aretha Franklin. Like, everybody's playing somebody, and I think there's this cheapness and this cheating that I feel like is happening now with actors that are trying to get Oscar buzz. Like, we might see an entire slate of people literally getting Oscars playing biopics of other folks, because I think that people are starting to think that mimicking and acting like other people is the best way to measure acting. And maybe no, actually no. What happened to good book adaptations of characters off of books so you can internalize a character that's already been written? Or what about a character originally for screen? Like, why is everything based off of something? Can we get an original film, an original idea? I know Christopher Nolan is a tool at times, but one thing I'll say about Christopher Nolan is that he is trying to create films, original stories, and ideas that are for the screen that isn't adapted from something or from a book or from this. And that's fun. What happened to original ideas and creativity? You can appreciate Empire for the sake that they created an original character. Like Cookie Lion was something that was on TV and was an original character. We're not seeing that anymore. I feel like it's so much based off of this book. That's been going on, but it's heavy now. All these biopics, and they're not good. Some of them are. King Richard is good, but a lot of these are just not good. They're just splitting images, and I just hate it. I'm like, what happened to original acting where someone had to create a character, become a character, like Jerry Maguire, right? Like that's a character that we made, that's not based off of a real life person. Like, what happened to movie stars creating a character that we fell in love with, that became something? Like, I know Cruella de Vil was a book, right? Or Miranda Priestley's character comes off of a book. But what happened to making, at least even from a book character, taking a book character from a book and making it a screen character, but something that was a mandatory, that wasn't something that we can put based on somebody. Like, oh, look at Gaga. She sounds just like this lady. Even Meet the Ricardos, I think it was Nicole Kidman playing Lucille Ball in this upcoming film that I'm hearing good things about. Everyone's comparing her to, is it I Love Lucy or Lucille Ball, which people are now realizing, oh shit, she's not playing I Love Lucy. So all of those people that was trying to push that narrative about old girl from Will and Grace, Deborah Messing, talking about how she should have played the character Lucille Ball. Lucille Ball as a person was a little bit more serious than actual Lucy on the show. They're two different people. And so when I went back to look at Lucille Ball interviews, I felt like Nicole Kidman is playing that because that's who she's playing. She's playing the actress that played Lucy, not Lucy herself. So all the idiots that were on social media kept showing pictures I still think that Deborah Messing was playing Lucy off the show. She's playing Lucille Ball, the person. Lucille Ball, the person, isn't that loofy, goofy, personal I Love Lucy. They're two different people. But, that's just me being a cinema nerd. I just really think that there's just a lot of biopics, and I'm getting irked with it. I'm getting tired of it. And I think that's just it's a cheap way to try to get Oscar buzz. Play an original character. Force people to go to the movies and get engrossed in your character. I'm tired of it. Everybody's playing all these historical figures, and we're supposed to all compare and contrast them to the real people. I'm tired of that. It's just getting played out. That's just my thought. As far as House of Gucci go, I think that the issue I have with it is that I watched it, and I think that if you watch the movie as a campy Ryan Murphy FX special, let me be clear, Ryan Murphy has nothing to do with this film. But let's just say that if you watch it like that, it can be slightly enjoyable. Problem is, this must be a full-length motion picture. And I just felt like if they made this into an FX special, like House of Gucci, and Gaga was in it as her character, and it was a 7-part miniseries, this would have been Emmy Gold. But because of the fact that they decided to try to make this motion picture that we were supposed to somehow take seriously, that was meant for the theater, we have to watch it and all that shit, and I stream it, I think that is what the problem is that it doesn't fit as a theatrical film. It shouldn't have been that. It's giving me a glorified TV movie miniseries energy. And it would have been better in that way, and they would have killed it if it was the Emmys and we were talking about television. But as a motion picture, it just doesn't work. There's too many stories going on, and I felt like it should have been fleshed out more in a cute miniseries, and Gaga would have ate the Emmys. She would have got an Emmy, she got a Grammy, she would have got she already got an Oscar, she already got a Grammy, okay? She would have got an Emmy, And then all she would have needed was a Tony. And given that she's a Broadway chick type, she would have easily got a Tony. She would have been closer to an EGOT if she would have did it as a TV series. So that's my critique about House of Gucci. I just felt like it just doesn't work as a film. It works better as something else. But what can I say? I don't think the Academy Awards are going to go goo goo gaga for this. No pun intended. That's just my take. Take it or leave it. And lastly, Ernest's favorite things. My favorite things. I'm super excited about them. I'm super excited about all of my projects that's coming, that's going on. I'm in love with them. I'm super excited and ecstatic about my projects. But I want to tell you these cool things about my production. And I just want to say this quickly because I know a lot of people really, really love this. And I want to shout out these brands. So this is my first year doing Ernest's favorite things, which is shouting out holiday brands and things that I love. And I just want to shout out these ones. And these are on my Instagram, and people have been really excited about them. And they're all Black-owned businesses. They're all owned locally. And I really wanted people to get excited about the holiday season. So my favorite brands is Minky Blue, which is this beautiful, luxurious luggage collection that's Black-owned. And they're just great for travel. And I just highly recommend it. I also love Marcia Main, and I know a lot of people know about that store, but Marcia Main has their own line of products, including their body and hair butter, that is to die for, and I'm obsessed with them. And I've been using their lavender product forever, and it's just made my feet and my arms and my hands smell good. And if you've been smelling me and be like, that lavender smell, that's Marcia Main. I'm also in love with Zavi Rowe, which is this incredible designer who is the designer that made my tux for the wedding, our wedding tux that were like glowing. They also make regular suits and other cool blazers and things that are custom made. And he's a great Black designer. He's had an eye for detail. I also love Ask Alish, which she makes these great products. She's been doing facials for me for a minute. She has these great skincare products that are really good for pores and all that. But she also does these incredible facials that are to die for, and I highly recommend her. I also love Ginger Tea, which is this company that's also going to be at Christmas Village. They're selling their incredible tea line, but they also have other products to go with it, but they are just specialists at tea, and they also have candles too that go with it. Shea Theory has a body butter that is a die for. Been using them for years. They keep me good. I don't really use lotion anymore because their body butter has been the answer to all of my prayers. The Vanessa Lynn collection, which I've been shouting out since the beginning of this podcast. Y'all know I love her candles. Her candles continue to do great stuff. She's a Razzle Dazzle candle that's out that is really like gorgeous. I also love this really great company called Ica Vina Wine, which basically is this Black-owned wine connoisseur who loves wine, loves great products. He has a really beautiful collection of wine that's just fabulous. And I'm a big old fan. And I just love his wine. I think it's great. And then last but not least, there is Ron's lovely signature sauce. Now, I'm not really crazy about sauces and things, but this is like a barbecue sauce that is undeniably good, and it's just good for any type of chicken and things you can use. It's an incredible story. Ron's Ribs is a longtime Black-owned food restaurant that has ribs and things. And in his father's legacy, the son has continued, his name is Brandon, has continued to sell this product in his father's memory and push the legacy with this special sauce. And he's been going around really popular rib spots in Philadelphia, putting the sauce on, selling the product, and it's been a hit. And I just love the sauce itself. I've gotten a chance to taste test it, and it's been a staple in my house. So that's one of my favorite products. All of these have websites, Instagram pages. I put all of them on my page. So all you got to do is go to my Instagram page, see Ernest's favorite things, swipe through, and support these incredible Black-owned businesses for the holidays. So, yeah, that's everything. So I will, as always, catch up with you all. See y'all next week. Keep y'all posted on everything that's going on. And until then, always be well and be best. Ernestly Speaking is recorded in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and can be found on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, and SoundCloud. To stay up to date with the latest on the show, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Mr. Ernest Owens. Use the hashtag Ernestly Speaking to tell me what you thought about this episode, and check out my website at ernestowens.com.